Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be building up the Roswell UFO from Testors. As it says on the box, this is kit number 555. Most of us have heard of the Roswell crash from 1947, and this was allegedly what it looked like according to eyewitnesses. So let's open it up and take a look at this kit. First of all, we are greeted by a vintage looking newspaper, and after a quick Google search I found out this is an accurate reproduction of the original newspaper. So that's a nice little touch. And then inside we go on to the instructions. There are two different ways to build this up. Option 1 is the more accurate looking way, and option 2 is for display purposes. And at this point I haven't decided which route I'm going to take. On the back cover you can see the mesa on which the UFO crashed into, plus a sketch of the damaged UFO, which is also available in another kit. Next up we have the decal sheet. Most of these will go inside the cockpit, and one of them is designed for the base. And now it's time to open the bag. We have two large grey sprues, plus a clay sprue. The UFO looks a lot like a stingray, don't you think? And we also have our 5 crew members. Most of these were supposedly found dead on impact, and one of them was shot by a soldier during the recovery process, and later died of his wounds. And these are the clear parts, and we have two options with these. We can either keep them clear so we can see inside the craft, or can spray them silver so that they blend in with the rest of the exterior. I just need to remove and clean up all the parts from the sprues. Some parts are easier to paint on the sprues, such as the aliens and the chairs. So for now, those remain as they are. Because the edges of the ship are so thin, I don't want to risk any damage. So I'll cut off the supports halfway from the edges, and then just carefully snap off the pieces adjacent to the wing. And this causes very little damage. So by using a little file, you won't even notice anything was there in the first place. Just to get it out of the way, I'm going to assemble the base, and that way I'll have less pieces knocking about. It only comprises of 3 parts, 2 halves to a stem, then that should stand itself. But according to the instructions, I have to drill a hole in the model kit for the stand to work. But I don't like that idea one little bit, so I'm going to somehow make it work with magnets instead. But I'll come back to that later. Next are the fins to assemble. There are 2 fins, and they both come in 2 parts. They can only be assembled one way, so there's no chance of making any mistakes. Then I glue them to the top of the UFO, and they have pre-molded grooves to slot into. I'll do the same with the opposite side, then put it to one side to cure. There's quite a bit of work to do in the cockpit area, so I'll paint that up silver, so I can get started on that. And just to add a little bit of contrast to all that silver, I paint the chairs in a dark grey, and the alien suits are painted in a light grey to contrast against the chairs. And as for their heads, I use a very light tan colour, and once again I'm using this colour so it doesn't clash with the suit. I have a couple more pieces to add to the cockpit. That's the pilot's panel and the reactor. These have already been painted in silver. Surprise, surprise. There are some gaps on the fins, so I'm going to use some green stuff to fill those in. And the sculpting tool helped to push it into all the crevices. And now it's time to make some adjustment to the stand, as I want to insert a magnet to hold the saucer. So I chop off the peg and drill a hole for the magnet. Unfortunately, the magnets I have are too big for this hole, so it's time to go to plan B. They will fit into this tube though, but the tube does need heating up a little bit so that it will slide over the rod. I test fitted the magnet to make sure it will hold over the plastic, and it does. So I just need to glue it securely into place, and Gorilla Glue is good for this. And once it's in place, I smother it in Gorilla Glue again, and this will expand and doubly ensure that the magnet does not move. I add a few drops of panel liner for the eyes. I found this much easier than painting, especially at such a small scale. The green stuff on the body has had time to cure, and this needs sanding before I can paint it. For both the top and the bottom part of the shells, I sprayed them black first, and then I gave them both a coating of silver. Having a black undercoat helps make the silver more reflective. And now it's time to apply the decals, and there's quite a few to apply for this kit. A couple of them tore on me while applying them, and this is not unusual for an older kit. But I did my best to repair them, and you can hardly tell they've been damaged on the finished kit. I have a handful of decals left over, most of which are supposed to be applied on the inside of the canopy, but I think that will be fairly pointless as nobody will see them. Next, I glue in all 6 chairs. I just need to make sure they go on in the designated positions, as they need enough leg clearing for the alien to sit in them. And that is followed by gluing in all 5 aliens. There is a little bit of flashing left over on these from the injection moulding process. I've left this on, as if I try and remove it I will probably chop off a limb with them being so tiny. They're looking like they're serving a purpose now. And now I can glue the cockpit onto the lower part of the craft. I just need to double check that it's in alignment, and then I can glue on the top piece as well. I am unable to make the transparent cone section removable, so I'm gluing that into place, and this will be sprayed silver and become a permanent fixture. So we'll see what this kit looks like with the main canopy on. And although it shows the detail really nice inside, it really shouldn't be clear. But this one doesn't need to be glued into place, it can just rest where it is, so that way I can still have access to the inside. Before I paint it I need to scuff it up, and I'm just using some fine sandpaper for this, and this will give the paint something to adhere to, otherwise it will just flake off. So I spray everything silver again, except this time I also give it a coat with matte sealer, and this protects the paint. And now we can put it all together. And the magnet feature works really well, so I didn't need to drill a hole. And although the canopy doesn't fit perfectly, it's close enough. Also, thanks to the magnet, I can easily adjust the position. So there you have it, the completed Testors Roswell UFO. So whether you believe the crash actually happened or not, or whether it was actually a UFO or weather balloon, it's still quite a fascinating story that sticks with us even to this day. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if I can do it, so can you.